they had instilled deep faith in worship of Krishna and Vrindavan Dham amongst these kings. So the headquarters of the Mughals was Agra, which is right close to Vrindavan. And so now, the entire plan which was hatched by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu way back in 1515 when he first came here and met Rupa and Sanatan, that started fructifying, where the literatures and the books and the holy places which were identified started taking form of structures, buildings, temples. Because for that, you need money, you need land, you need political patronage. And that person who transformed this game was Jiva Goswami, who entered Vrindavan after studying from Madhusudan Vachaspati in Varanasi, becoming the supremost scholar of all time. And in 1541, Jiva Goswami entered. So in the period between 1541 to 1558, when Sanatana Goswami departed, those 17 years were the only 17 years when all the 6 Goswamis were together here in Vrindavan. And this was the time when Jiva Goswami started strategizing, and he inspired Raghunath Bhatta Goswami through his disciple, because Raghunath Bhatta Goswami made Todarmal as his disciple, who was a general in Akbar's army. He also inspired Man Singh to become his disciple. So Akbar was constructing palaces in Fatehpur Sikri, in Delhi, in Agra, and so Todarmal and Man Singh started shifting red sandstone from those construction sites to Vrindavan also. And the masons, after being employed there, were being employed here. So practically all the red stone stand structures you see from those times are the ones which were being afforded by the emperors of India at that time, because Jiva Goswami, through Raghunath Bhatta Goswami and the alliance of the Rajput with the Mughals, managed to make the Mughal administration favorable to the Gaudiya cause. So therefore the foremost donor in Jiva Goswami's donor list was Akbar himself. And this is very interesting, because many times when you see the dilapidated condition of the temples today, you do not realize what kind of opulence these temples were enjoying at one point of time. And so in this particular period, Jiva Goswami managed to convince Todarmal, to convince Akbar to issue official land grants in the name of deities of Govinda Dev and Madan Mohan. And in 1563, Akbar, the king who does not believe in deity worship, he issued the royal order offering several acres of land in the name of Madan Mohan and Govinda Dev. That was just the beginning of Jiva Goswami's plan. Please remember that this was not the only thing Jiva Goswami was doing. Simultaneously, he was writing Shastras, and to his credit, Jiva Goswami has written 400,000 original Sanskrit shlokas. And in Banaras Hindu University, even today, there is a department of Jiva Goswami which runs. You can study there if you want. But Jiva Goswami was a superb example of philosophical expertise along with administrative acumen. And so, in this period, the center of attraction then became Govinda Dev, because by 1558 Sanatana Goswami departed, by 1565 Rupa Goswami departed, Raghunath Das Goswami had also joined, but Raghunath Das Goswami, before that Raghunath Bhatta Goswami departed in 1578, Gopal Bhatta Goswami in 1579, Raghunath Das Goswami in 1586. So now the only Goswami remaining after this period was Srila Jiva Goswami. So in 1572, when Man Singh wanted to invade over another king, he came to Jiva Goswami and said, "Bless me, if I am victorious in this battle, I will build a big temple for Govinda Dev. And not only that, I will make Vrindavan completely tax free. So Jiva Goswami said, okay, go ahead, take blessings. If in return for blessings Govinda gets a big temple, we have no issues. We believe in Yukta Vairagya. So he was victorious, he came back and in 1576 began the construction of the largest temple at that point. In today's value, it cost 600 crore. And so it was designed by Bhagwan Singh from Delhi, and Manak Singh Chopra was the main mason. Jiva Goswami personally designed that Govinda Dev temple in a way which would reflect the rasa theory of Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That temple dismantled the existing idea about how Vedic temples should be, and for the first time, along with Krishna's Govinda Dev's main altar, on the left and the right side, there was place given to the Shakti tradition, and Yogamaya's altar and Vrinda Devi's altar were created to demonstrate that Krishna in Vrindavan rules by empowering Vrinda Devi and Yogamaya. And these two altars are on the side. And in the center there is a large place for kirtan to happen as per Mahaprabhu's tradition. And this temple does not carry any symbols of power. Typically, lion, elephants, these are symbols which are seen in every traditional Indian temple, Hindu temple. But you will find that the brackets are made of like parrot shape. You will find peacocks, you will find, cows and calves. Because Vrindavan and the theory of Vrindavan had to be established. With this in mind, Jiva Goswami designed this temple. And if you see the external of the temple, there are no figures. You will only see cuts, plain cuts. Why? Because Jiva Goswami acknowledged the fact that Akbar, being an iconoclast, a non-believer in deity worship, has still been magnanimous enough to support Man Singh in sponsoring this temple. And therefore Akbar has compromised from his own position. His own position is anti-deity, but he has compromised. Someone who compromises his position and stand in a conversation, he is ready for a dialogue. And so for Jiva Goswami felt, if Akbar is compromising and allowing deities to be established and is donating for a temple, I should also compromise in my design and not have too much of ornate figures on the outside, so that Akbar, being a follower of Islam, would appreciate more something sober and plain on the outside. And so the design of Govinda Dev from external is very plain. So it is said that when two personalities are willing for a dialogue, willing to give up their stubbornly held positions, they are willing to destroy their own conceptions. On the foundation of such destruction of one's personally held convictions arises the huge palace of the beautiful history of the future tradition of Vaishnava Sampradaya. And based on this foundation, Govinda Dev temple was created, because both Akbar and Jiva Goswami compromised on their individual positions. Both of them were willing for a dialogue. Govinda Dev temple is called a dialogue in stone. And so in 1590, when the deities were installed and the temple opened, Jiva Goswami Pad wrote 8 verses glorifying Govinda temple, and he called it the Govinda Mandir Ashtakam. And in that verse, in one of the verses, he glorifies Man Singh, in another verse he glorifies Akbar, and he calls it Shriman Arkavaro Mahan. Jiva Goswami is one of the first people to call Akbar the Great, Mahan. So it was not that he was a big fan or something, it was simple donor cultivation. So we, as part of donor cultivation, call our donors and do some kind of a ceremony in the temple or acknowledge them. So Jiva Goswami, being a scholar, simplest thing for him was to write a verse. And these verses of 8 verses are inscribed in the Govinda temple. And so then, after this temple was opened, the amount of wealth which was pumped in by Man Singh to make the worship opulent is unimaginable. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilala 8th chapter describes this. Vrindavane kalpadrume suvarna sadan mahayoga pitataha ratna simhasan. He was sitting on a golden effulgent throne. Sahasra sevaka seva kore anukshan Sahasra vadane seva no jaya varnan. And at that point of time, thousands of devotees were worshipping Govinda Dev, and with thousands of mouths it was not possible to describe this. That temple, which was established by one of the Manjaris, by the combined efforts of the Manjaris from the spiritual world, it saw the pinnacle of prosperity. But then Akbar departed in 1606 and then Jahangir took over. Then his son Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan had a son called Dara Shikoh. And at that time, the equivalent Rajput king was Jai Singh the One. And so this political collaboration was the cause for Gaudiya Vaishnava prosperity and recreation of Vrindavan in its structure form. But now you will see the problems which emanate through these kind of political collaborations. So Dara Shikoh was going to become the king as per Shah Jahan's desire. Aurangzeb did not like that. He could not himself overthrow Dara Shikoh. Jai Singh I did not have a good relationship with Dara Shikoh. He decided to support Aurangzeb. And so it was the Rajput king at that time, Jai Singh I, who actually killed Dara Shikoh and put Aurangzeb on throne, little knowing that the person he is helping to put on throne will be the person who will be the cause of destruction of Vrindavan. As they say, history teaches us various things. And so, Jai Singh I, along with his son Ram Singh, suggested to Aurangzeb, let us make a treaty with Shivaji Maharaj. So they invited Shivaji Maharaj to Agra, and Aurangzeb as usual insulted Shivaji Maharaj. He became very upset with Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb put him in jail. Somehow Shivaji Maharaj escaped. When he escaped, Aurangzeb became very angry with Ram Singh and his father Jai Singh, thinking that they have helped Shivaji Maharaj escape. So in that fury, he wanted to show a lesson, teach a lesson to these Rajput kings, and he thought, let me attack where it hurts them the most emotionally. So therefore he attacked Kashi. As I said, Kashi was the place of the gurus of the Rajput kings. So Kashi Vishwanath temple, Keshavji in Mathura, and then in Vrindavan. So between Yogamaya temple and Vrindadevi temple on the two sides, in the middle was a more than 200 to 250 tall structure, which is famously the 7-story structure. So what structure you see today in Govinda Dev was always present. That has not been touched. But on the back side between the two was this tall structure. Aurangzeb dismantled that. But then he was also sensitive to the fact that this Govinda Dev temple was the symbol of the Rajput pride, and also it was sponsored in collaboration between Man Singh and his own grandfather, a great grandfather Akbar. So therefore, apart from dismantling that middle portion of the Garbhagriha, he did not dismantle the remaining temple. And therefore, several scholars have been studying this phenomena, and that the Govinda deities were then shifted from there. And by the way, another important principle is it was the first time in this age that a public worship of Radharani began, because the kings from Orissa sent deities of Radharani. Then Janva Devi again made another deities of Radharani. So in this way, Radha Krishna worship was done in public for the first time in Govinda Dev temple. Govinda Dev temple was the place where Chaitanya Charitamrita was written. Govindadeva temple was the place where Jiva Goswami empowered and trained Srinivas Narottam and Shyamananda and sent them away for the preaching mission against popular conception that Hindus don't preach. That conception was again broken in Govindadeva temple. So that Govindadeva temple, which was a revolutionary hub and epicenter of all kinds of Gaudiya Vaishnava revolution, today lies in a state of great disrepair as an evidence to the fact that Krishna's time factor is ruthless. It does not spare even structures created by his own associates, the manjaris from the spiritual world. And therefore only Bhagavan, Bhakti and Bhakta principle are eternal. Otherwise the details about what a particular community and organization structure will go through is unpredictable. And therefore one should not take shelter of any material principles, but one should take shelter of the spiritual principles, knowing that only these are eternal. Other things are all details subject to any change. The kind of prosperity these temples saw under royal patronage, we have not even seen a fraction of that prosperity in the course of our experience in our organization. And therefore, apart from the fact that we are here to pray, we are also here to observe and learn from history. And so, these deities of Govindadeva went from Vrindavan to Radhakund, from Radhakund to Kamyavan, from Kamyavan. Vrindadevi appeared in the dream saying, "It is too much travelling, I will stay here only. This is a nice place." So she continued staying there, but the deities came. But in the meantime, the Rajput king became Jai Singh II, and he became a disciple of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He shifted in the lane next to Gokulanand, and he called his home the Jai Singh Gira. That's where he was staying. Govindev appeared in his dream and said, "I have been sent on an exile outside Vrindavan, and you are sitting in my Vrindavan peacefully in a palace." So Jai Singh too became inspired, and he brought together master planners. They created the master plan for the city of Jaipur. So the city of Jaipur was master planned and the designs approved in that lane next to Radha Gokulananda temple. Today you go to Gokulananda temple, you may not even know what that temple has done. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was the person who gave hope to the devotees after Aurangzeb's attack, kept the morale boost. And then his disciple Baladev Vidyabhushan, he was the one who became very close to Jai Singh II. And thanks to the collaboration between Jai Singh II and Baladev Vidyabhushan, Gaudiya Vaishnavism has been preserved in the way we see today, thanks to that royal patronage. That's a different subject on how the debates happened in Jaipur. But these Govinda deities in 1713 had reached on the outskirts of the city of Jaipur in a place called Kanak Vrindavan. Kanak was a sister of Jai Singh. And then they were brought in 1727 the deities were installed in that garden in the palace of the king of Jaipur, and for 20 more years that entire city was developed. And so generally we build temples for the deities. Jaipur is a city which was offered to the deities. And even today if you go to Jaipur in the morning, Mangalarti of Radha Govindadev, at least 5,000 devotees you will find who are coming there to offer worship to the deities and saying Jai Govinda. And therefore, we can see that in this entire period, how Vrindavan went through transformations, and then they realized building big structures is attracting attention of the negative type. And so let us build now temples in a way that any attacker will not even know that this is a temple. So the priority went from aesthetics to security. And thanks to that, the newer temples which were designed were all in Haveli style. Look like a house with a courtyard and a stage. And then you will find many of these temples are like that. So when you are going in Vrindavan, you will be bewildered which is a house and which is a temple. So that was thanks to the events which happened in this period. So in the last 1,000 years, how much bloodshed, how much attack, how much persecution this tract of land has seen. But what we learn from history is, however much challenges and attacks may come, the principle of bhakti can never be stopped. It is a fast-flowing river which can never be dammed. And therefore, whatever may happen, things only continue, just like the river Ganges. And so, thanks to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, He made Braj Bhumi Vrindavan famous all over the world. And as Prabhupada entered and he wanted to build a center, now we have Radha Shyam Sundar and Krishna Balram temple as one of the most popular temples in the whole of Vrindavan Dham. Thanks to Srila Prabhupada's effort. And we must acknowledge the fact that in the period when Krishna Balram temple was being made, in the 70s, Prabhupada practically had 4,000 to 5,000 Western disciples from the Western world. And he hardly had 20, 30 Indian disciples. And practically all the money for building the temples in Bombay, Vrindavan and Mayapur came from selling books. The books were being sold by Western devotees. The books were being sold in the Western world. But Prabhupada ordered them to bring the proceeds of the sale of the book to India and to build temples here as per his desire in Bombay, Vrindavan and Mayapur. And we must acknowledge the fact and appreciate the fact that nobody questioned and nobody objected. And although there were hardly any Indian devotees in ISKCON at that time, the majority of the resources of money collected was brought to India, and India was the only country where such big temples were constructed and made. And therefore, in 1977, nobody could have imagined how ISKCON in India would grow. But at that time, thanks to the surrender of so many devotees from across the world, Srila Prabhupada could fulfill his dream of having these projects in Vrindavan, in Mumbai and in Mayapur. And today's ISKCON devotees who are enjoying the prosperity of well-established ISKCON should not forget to offer a prayer of gratitude to all those devotees who made this dream of Srila Prabhupada possible. And therefore, since we have come on a yatra,